Hello. I've got a bit of Wii game on. I hope that's not too distracting because I think last time, was it Back to the Future? Back to the Future was quite distracting. But yeah, more. Actually, the noise of the Wii's getting on my tits already. But anyway, I'll soldier on. Soldier on. Sausages. I'll soldier on. Yeah, PS1 Collection, penultimate episode. 7 games again. This shouldn't take as long as the last one. Probably will, but shouldn't. Yeah, that's Muramasa, by the way. I thought I'd put Muramasa on. That's gonna get on my nerves. It's gonna keep distracting me in the little viewfinder on the screen. But anyway, yeah, 7 games. And I've just noticed something on one of them that I'd forgotten about, which annoys me. But I'll get to it. Yeah, the W's, 7 games. I think it was about 3 or 4 times I said that already. But the first two I could bring out together because I tend to fail at playing both of them. They're the same sort of game, but I'll do them anyway. It's Warcraft 2. The other one's Warhammer Dark Omen. Yeah, 2 RTSs. I think I was when I did the season, it was Command and Conquer. It was the same with that. I just fail at RTSs, fail to learn RTSs. And my excuse, my explanation is that they don't give you an opportunity to learn, do they? They just sort of stick you right in the deep end and you like learn the controls. I suppose I should read the manual. I do read manuals, but not in that depth, and it never goes in. And I tend to learn through playing the game. Whereas with RTSs, you have to learn what does what, and all the while you're being attacked, or you're about to be attacked at any moment. But no, the thing is, these are the sorts of games. These are the sorts of games that I really want to know how to play, really want to be good at. And so they take practice and persistence and a bit of bloody mindedness. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I've never actually got to that point yet where I've persisted with them enough so it's clicked. That's the whole idea. Something's going to click. Sorry, that one. This is the second game in the series. Like I said, I want to get Shadow of the Horn Rat. If that's because I want to be good at them, but because Shadow of the Horn Rat is the first game. I've got a demo of that. It was one of the really early demos. It used to come in like paper envelopes, and I can remember putting it in and just failing miserably. This is like a demo of the sort of first battle and having no idea what I was doing. And this is exactly the same, really. And so's this. Again, like I said, I haven't read the manuals. It's probably a starter. Me and RTSs. Yeah, I think everyone's got a game that they would like to be better at than they are. They'd like to know how to play, and that's me with RTSs, really. But yeah, like I said, I would like that one. I would like Shadow of the Horn Rat. So my heart is in it, but somehow it just doesn't stick. This is what I noticed. I'd totally forgotten about my copy of Warcraft. I don't know if you're going to see that. Look, it's short. I don't know why that is. It's not been cut down. But for some reason the back sleeve is narrow. So you can there's all the way along the top you can see the plastic tray, whereas the front cover isn't narrow. So I've got some sort of like cut and shut, like bits of one copy combined with bits of another copy to make this one. And apparently it's a Swedish. Maybe it's a Swedish copy, but slightly annoying. But if I was any better at it, then maybe it'd be more important that I got a proper copy without that slight annoyance. But yeah, so to sum that up, me and RTSs, they don't like me. I like them, but they don't like me. There you go. It's simple enough, isn't it? This is a game I do know. I can talk about it properly. Wild Arms. Yeah, I've had this a long time. This is my original copy. Don't know if I had it for new. Don't really know. Did I have it from new? I can remember playing it when I was at university. Again, my first day going into my room, and I remember just sort of chilling out after moving in and propping my door open because I didn't want to shut myself away. I thought I'll put on some Wild Arms. I just sat there playing a bit of Wild Arms, hoping someone would come, "Oh, what are you playing?" But yeah, it's a traditional style RPG with random battles. But I think I really like the puzzle solving element in this because you have three main characters. You only ever have a battle party of three main characters. I think this guy's called Jack something. He's a bit of an Indiana Jones. This guy is called Rudy Roughnight, which I always think sounds like a name of somebody from a jazz film. I can't remember the name of her. But she's like the token mystery lady. It's a mysterious magical lady, and basically, you control all three. Eventually, you meet all three, and they become your battle party, and they've all got different skills, different strengths. During the dungeon sections, there's lots. It's really heavy on the puzzles, which I like, and you can. Basically, you can chop and change who you control at any one time, and basically, the actual battle party is only represented by one figure, but you can chop and change who that person is, and whoever's your chosen avatar, so to speak, they each have a set of 3 core skills which you gain throughout the game. So you begin with, I think some of them. Rudy begins with a bomb. I think like bombs, you can blow stuff up. And Jack has a pet rat, and she has something. I think she can talk to animals, or to stop time. But then you gain all the other skills, so you have 9 in total, 3 each, that basically utilise to solve puzzles in the dungeon sections. All the while, encountering with random encounters, and I just like that idea because some of the puzzles are quite difficult, which. Might be frustrating because all the while you're being attacked by enemies with random encounters. But I don't know. It doesn't make it frustrating in that sense because I think the encounter rate's pretty high. But the actual puzzles are really quite clever and sophisticated and difficult and take a bit of thinking, and you have to think laterally, which I like. I think the in-game the battle engine, the actual the turn-based, it's pretty ugly. It's pretty dated. It's all polygonal, whereas the rest of the game it's all 2D sprite based, which is hasn't aged quite as badly. The visuals in the battle engine have aged quite badly, but the rest of it's all anime. It's all sort of super deformed, sort of big heads and stuff, and. I love the opening. The opening FMV of this is brilliant. It's properly full on anime with this sort of spaghetti western sort of Ennio Morricone style soundtrack with like a whistle track over the top and a sort of an acoustic sort of Spanish guitar, playing. And there will be you'll be able to find it, the opening FMV of Wild Arms anywhere on YouTube because it's a really good one, and it's probably one of my favourites. It's great, but it's a good game. I've forgotten how many playthroughs I've had of this. It's only recently when I've had proper access to the internet in recent years that I didn't get stuck at a certain point, because I would always get stuck at a certain point and then give up. There's a certain point where um, a town is a town with a nunnery. I think it's a town with a nunnery and loads of children is attacked by these demons. Like the main villains, it's just a group of demons, and the nuns and the children go down into this sort of sanctuary below, sort of down underground, this sort of complex. But the actual demons gain sort of access to this complex, and there's one point you meet a boss and you have to fight the boss, and all the while you're trying to protect. Oh, that's the storyline anyway. You're trying to protect these kids, but it gets to a point where I always would get stuck. You'd get a clue because there's a shape change. I think one of them's a shape changer, so it's hiding. And you get a clue, you hear a clue from someone about some kid who doesn't like rats. And for some reason that never twigged. That was the key clue, because there's this kid, this shape changer is hiding as a kid. And you have to take Jack, you have to sort of fire his little rat at this kid. And the kid changes back to its sort of true demon form. And then that's how the game progresses. And it comes out as a boss. And I missed that for years. I'd missed that and never got past it. And I looked it up on Game Facts, I think it was. And I went, oh, it's so obvious, ridiculous. But yeah, Wild Arms, by the way, before I won't go any too much longer. Wild Arms, they're big mechs, big sort of ancient mechs. They're sort of mysterious mechs from the ancients, I think that's what. And you gain access to at least one of them, or one or more of them, a few of them. And you can sort of traverse the main game world. You can actually, I like this, a game you can run around in the game world, which I like. It's not just a map with pinpoints on it. You know, it's not one of those where you travel like that. You can actually walk across the game world, which I always like. Right, this next one, this shouldn't take as long because it's just a series of races, futuristic races. Wipeout 2097 and Wipeout 3 and Wipeout 3 Special Edition. This one was one I had originally, loved. This one is one I found, and this one I found after it. I've always meant to sell this on, because I don't really need both, because this one is just this one with extra bits. But so yeah, what can you say about them, really? I'm sure it was Wipeout. It was the Wipeout that became one of the first games to sort of marry soundtracks with gameplay perfectly, wasn't it? I'm sure it was. I'm not sure that idea. Pardon me. Ooh. I'm not sure that idea really necessarily existed quite to that extent before this, but that's sort of part of the main sort of appeal of the game, is this emphasis on the whole package, including music, I think. But yeah, I didn't have this for a long time, and then eventually I got one back. I found one. I think again, when I first had it, it became part of a cull. You always sell or trade on my games. But then now, since I've been starting, since I've been collecting, I've got a copy back. But it's such a good game. I've never played the first one, and it's never really appealed to me. It looks again like Tekken, like Destruction Derby. The first one always looks rough, and I think the second game in the series, when it really starts to come into its own. But yeah. Well, what can you say? It's Psygnosis, and it's just effortless. Effortless. Doesn't sound right. Doesn't sound like the right word, but it's such a good game. futuristic racer. It's like a sort of pod racer, and you hover. Who doesn't know that? But one thing I don't like about it is there's no campaign as such. There's no challenge. There's no challenge. There's no championship mode. That's the word I was thinking of. There's no championship mode. I mean, you just do individual races, and you have to. You can unlock things if you can become first in each of the individual races, which slightly disappointing. It sort of breaks things up. Whereas I think Wipeout 3 they introduced a championship mode, which I liked. Which one do I prefer out of the two? I was thinking that actually recently. Which one do I prefer out of the two? I'm not including Wipeout 3. That ain't staying. I think 2097 is the one I got the nostalgia for. But Wipeout 3 has it adds things. I mean, it looks cleaner, but I don't mind the sort of slightly rougher look of 2097. I mean, this one takes away all the sort of jagged edges and stuff. You know, it rounds off the edges, and but I think I prefer the handling of number 1. It feels slightly more responsive. This one feels slightly spongier. I don't really know. But that's well, I should know because it's my opinion. But but that's how it's always felt to me. I mean, if anybody else knows the two, and you can, I'm welcome to offer up what you think about it. But I just think I quite like. Again, I've got this nostalgia for this one, but then this Wipeout 3 adds a whole lot more. I mean, this one I think it doesn't have that many tracks. It's only got 6 tracks, I think. Is it 6? This one's got more tracks. I tell you one thing I don't. It sort of slightly lets the game down. All games with the whole series is that because they hover. They're like pod races. They hover. I'm not sure they've ever quite mastered the idea of sort of the physics, because obviously it's all sort of sci-fi physics, and it sort of because the pods sort of lack a certain amount of weight, it sort of affects the atmosphere of the game. It feels slightly empty, and I think that's maybe why there's an emphasis on the music. I think you probably do need to play these games with the volume turned right up because sort of the ships float and the collisions are slightly dead. You know, there's no weight. There's no weight to them. The collisions are dead. It's not spectacular in that sense. It lacks a certain atmosphere, and I think it pays to have the music turned up to make it a more all-encompassing experience. That's just a slight, something I've really noticed that doesn't really appeal to me in that sense. But it's just a minor thing, really, because I love the weapons. Actually, no, that's not strictly true. In some ways, I think the weapons are a sort of slight afterthought, but some of them are just great fun. Especially the earthquake one, where it rolls, it sort of sends off like a shockwave out in front of you, and the track just rolls like that, and sort of flips up your enemies. I love that. It's fantastic, spectacular. I mean, the tracks are spectacular. Some of them are better than others. I mean, there's one in Wipeout 3 which I love. It's got this big sort of downward spiral. I can't remember what it's called, but big downward spiral, and it's just you sort of forced to. I always find myself leaning into it like that. But the differences between this one's basically got its Wipeout 3 load of extra tracks. It's got tracks from 2097 and the original Wipeout, plus a load of music. It's remix music, like music from Left Field and that sort of big beat. Isn't it Big Beat? That's what it was called, isn't it? I can't remember from back in the day, back in the late 90s. The Prodigy, stuff like that. But the series, it's a great series. It's iconic. It's one of the iconic series in the PS1, and it's it's spawned a lot of copycats. I don't really think I really said much constructive about that, did I? But I like 2097 and Wipeout 3. Put it that way. I think there's slightly more soul in 2097 for some reason. That's something that sticks in my head. Anyway, last one, Wu-Tang, Taste the Pain. I had this for a long time. Had no idea that it was the actual game engine was designed for something else called, was it Thrill Kill, which I remember years back being enlightened to that. But it's not the best game, but I've got a soft spot for it because I had this again. It's another one I had when I was at university, and I've had ever since. Actually, it's a bit of a weird story. The girl I was going out with at the time, we it was sort of in the second year. We went away it was Christmas, so went home for Christmas. She went to live where she lived, and for some reason I didn't phone her for the whole of Christmas, and that really pissed her off. And she sent me a letter, but I never got it. And then she ended up copping off with some. To be honest, I wasn't that bothered, but she ended up copping off with some bloke on New Year's Eve because I hadn't sort of phoned her for the whole of Christmas, and turns out that bloke did a load of graphic designs for the marketing of this game, and it was him who recommended it, so it was really good. So I ended up getting it because he was actually a decent bloke. I met him. I didn't bear him no ill that he'd sort of tried to knob my girlfriend. They did end up going out weirdly, but yeah, what a weird story. But anyway, I've got a soft spot for this. I had this at the same time that I had Tekken 4, and I like the whole sort of the old sort of chop socky kung fu sort of design to it. The sound effects, those sort of those, yeah, like I said, that's sort of chop socky kung fu sound effects. It's not a looker, is it? But I mean, you have to have a certain amount of respect for a fighter that lets you have sort of 4 players on the screen at once, and there's a lot of fun to be had in that. I always liked, obviously, it sort of uses members of Wu-Tang. I always liked Ghostface Killer because he did Muay Thai, I think. That's why I quite like the authenticity of it. There's a certain eye for the authenticity of the styles that were that each member was using. I think was it old Dirty Bastard did Drunken Style, and there was a boxer. Was it? I don't even know. Is it RZA? I think he was a boxer. Was he a boxer? One of them had like a chain. I can't remember, but I always favoured Ghostface Killer because he did this sort of spinning move. But yeah, I mean, there was a big campaign to this. You sort of walked around there like this hub, and you can go into these separate rooms and fight all these enemies, and then you fight the enemies and you gain these sort of symbols that you. Basically, it's a big sort of a big. I never completed it, but it got tough. It got tough up to there was a certain point, and it just felt impossible. But that's also down to my lack of skill. But this is almost as long as the last one, and I said it wasn't going to be. But anyway, so maybe I should stop now and say it won't be quite as long. I got the impression this whole episode was a lot of waffly bullshit. It was, wasn't it? Not a bad selection of games. Warhammer, Dark Omen, Warcraft II, Wild Arms, Wipeout III, Wipeout 2097, and Wipeout 3 Special Edition. And we were Tang, Taste of Pain. Yeah, I could only really sort of talk about Wipeout, and that's the one I've had the most time with, just probably going into hundreds of hours. But yeah, I'll let you go. I think I've gone over time for the last one, but bollocks. I'll let you go and keep a lookout for the final episode, the X's, because like I said, there's no Z's or Y's. I've been bidding on a Y, but I don't think I'm going to get it. But anyway. Yeah, I'll let you go. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later.